everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Empowerment Hour. Today, I'm your host, Akosia Dapa, and I'm here with my co-host,
Elizabeth.
All right, for the month of February, we've been talking about the road to marriage, and we've talked to singles about their fear of marriage and anything else that they're concerned about with marriage. We've talked to an engaged person about, I guess, how he got to that point and everything that he has learned so far. So today, on the last episode of our Road to Marriage, we're going to be talking to a married couple. We're going to be getting advice on marriage, how to prepare for marriage and things like that. So today, our guest will be none other than our very own Mama Empowerment. And here she is with her husband. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Sure. So my name is Alberta Sean, and it's definitely a privilege and an honor to be part and parcel of the Adonai family, but to also be part of the Empowerment Hour. So I'm here with my wonderful husband.
My Tufilosation is my name, and I thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to be part of your program.
And we thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
You're
So, let's jump into the topic. So, marriage, like, what is marriage? What is marriage?
That's a very good topic. Marriage is definitely it's an ordain. It's an institution. It is something that is a gift from God. That's why the Bible said the two shall be one. That is why marriage is something that is sacred. So you go to marriage with understanding, appreciation of how much God wants this marriage to be a gift to you. So marriage should be something that is cherished among everything else in our life, in our relationship.
That's pretty good. So let's talk before you got to marriage, right? So when you were single, right, did you believe that there was anything that you needed to prepare or to be to have first before you got married? Do you think that singles need to have certain things prepared before marriage?
Yes, I definitely think marriage is one of those things that you don't just wake up one morning and say, I'm ready. You have to cautiously think about the process. If you're a woman, are you mentally ready? Are you physically ready? Are you thinking about your responsibility? Have you set stuff in place that you're going to be somebody else's partner? Because when you think about it, marriage is not just going to the process of getting there. You get there, you're like, oh, I changed my mind. People do that, but you have to make a conscious effort. So are you mentally ready? Are you physically ready? Are you financially ready? Are you spiritually ready? You have to ask yourself that question. Don't let anybody rush into it. You have to sit there and say, sometimes people rush and say, okay, somebody's 21 years old, they got married, so I'm 25 and I'm not married, and then you feel like you have the timeline. But if you yourself are not ready, then don't force yourself to be on somebody else's timeline. So you have to be mentally, physically, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, you have to be ready. And it's ready in your mind and your heart to be where you need to be. Is it a process where you say, okay, I'm done? It's a working process. You never really say, I'm ready, but you are working on yourself. So that way you'll be somebody else. That is the ready process that is involved.
I'm actually tempted to ask you this question because I know we have our young folks, watching, and through the previous series, we've been talking about the fear and all those concerns. And so this is my question. So before that time, because I know as you're talking right now, people will be looking at you and, it's like, the readiness. But then before that period, like, how was it like? Did you have any concerns and feel like, I'm not ready? Like, what was your concern? Because I feel like that's actually what's the verse I kind of...
I think for me in particular, I always say that in the back of my mind, I always answer the question. When you ask me, are you ready to get married? I say, I'm not ready to be somebody else's helper. That is a fear. Because unless you're ready to be somebody else's helper, don't get into marriage thinking that the person is going to take care of you. And most people don't think that, oh, I'm getting married, but they never ask themselves question, are you ready to help somebody else? Are you ready to be a suitable helper? And so if you're not ready to be a suitable helper, then don't get married. For me, it took me a while to get my mind frame set on being a suitable helper because I want somebody to take care of me. when I wasn't, when I didn't feel like I was ready to take care of somebody else. But it's not a taking care of. But are you a suitable help? Are you ready to help somebody? Are you ready to be a partner? So if you're not ready to be a partner, then going into that marriage, you are not equipped to really be there for the person.
That's really deep. I'm going to give you the opportunity to actually talk about this too. So
Thank you.
So I'm not taking it away from you. So actually, both of you can just, respond to this. So you mentioned suitable helper, and I think in our generation, as it is right now, most people are getting married with the idea, like you just mentioned, they're going into the marriage, but they're not thinking of what they're actually putting into the marriage. It's like, what I'm going to get from it. And so when you talk about the suitable helper, what would you say young people in our generation, as we embark on that journey, what should be the mindset as we go into it? Like, what are we offering?
And I think it's a good question. One of the things is to really have a upfront conversation with the person. People may be going on the same path, but they have different perspective. So a suitable helper meaning that, do you see your partner? Do you see the person as a partner? Is that person? Are you ready to walk? Because marriage is a journey. Are you ready to walk on that journey with that person? Are you ready to be the person's cheerleader? Are you ready to be the person's supporter? Are you ready to see the person's dreams become a reality? If you're not ready to do that, then you're not a suitable helper for that person. Because if you see that person and you are tearing the person up, because some people, they talk to you and you're like, they are tearing you apart. They're not building you up. So if the person you're having a conversation is, every time you say an idea, they shoot it down, do you think that person is going to be a suitable helper for you? I don't think so. If that person doesn't see the goodness in you and they are going to work so hard to make you feel less than what you have to be, then they're not going to be a suitable helper for you. So if you are talking to that person, hear the person and also make sure the person is listening to you. And if the person is not listening to you, the person is not hearing you, the person doesn't see the goodness in you, the person wants you to be something that you are not. Because sometimes you're seeing somebody and they have an image of themselves that they want you to be. Not you, but they see an image. And so if they're working on that image, then you're not going to be a suitable helper for them, because you're creating a false illusion of you. And that you is not who you are. So you always have to be upfront with the person and be vocal. If the person is not seeing you, it's not going to see you when you get married to him. So the person has to see you, who you are, who you want to be, and they want to be there for you to be the very best. And so if they're not helping you to be the very best, then they are not your suitable. And you're not going to be a suitable helper for them also.
That's very deep. I think we should
Okay,
get the
well,
man's
that's
perspective.
Yes, please.
Dear husband, please.
I will add something little about what he said. What she said, everything is good. But like she said, you want to get married. What are the things that you need before you can see that you are ready to marry? Marriage is a long-term journey. And it's not like something that you can rush into it. Some people may rush into it. And if you marry in the Christian way, that one, you can't come back, you can't return. If you just marry, you are not a Christian too, and you marry, that one you can, like the way people always divorce, they can marry today and they can divorce tomorrow. But you, Christian, you don't want those things to happen to you. So there are certain things that you need to prepare. Especially some women, they consider their ages. Like, oh, I'm growing, I'm 35, I'm 18, I'm this. I need to get married. And when you put yourself into that, you want to get married. One, are you responsible? Can you take care of yourself when something happens, when they call you? Will you be there? Are you living in your parents' house? Or you are working? You check all those things. Are you working? Can you afford things on yourself? For the female side, you need to check all those things, because normally a man is coming to marry you from your parents' house because you are living with your parents. So as a woman, there's little things that you need to learn from the house, and you need to position yourself before you get into marriage, so that when you get into marriage, that thing will not bring you back, or they will not start calling your parents for a complaint. The same as a man. If a man you want to marry, people would just say, oh, now I can see myself, I want to get married. Did you ask yourself, did you have what it takes to become married. You can get married, you can get money that, oh, I can purchase all those things to get myself involved in marriage. But sometimes the wisdom for marriage, you don't have it. You need some counseling. If you are a church, if you go to church, you are a Christian, you need to. We have 3 things that can qualify you to become a mature person, to become a married.
Okay.
Because one, as a Christian, we have 3 things. Like I said, we have, before they will come and ask your hand in marriage and all those things. Like I said, if you are a man, you think money can do everything, so you can get yourself into marriage. But you can get the money all right, but the grace or wisdom that you need, all those knowledge to acquire before you get married, you don't have those things. That means you need to submit yourself to be in training, for somebody to counsel you, so that when you get into marriage, you won't say, oh, the lady or the girl that I get into marriage, the girl is giving me a problem, so I need to come out from what I've put in myself to. As a Christian, you can't go and tell your pastor this. So all those things, you need to pray for you to get the right person, because it's something that you can't just go and buy and say, oh, I don't like it, I'm going to change it.
Yeah.
So pray, wait patiently, and put yourself together and get certain things that you need to have. Because whenever you get married, there's things that whenever the parents or anybody call you, or it's a question coming to you, you need to answer, because now you are a man.
Right.
You are leaving your parents' house and you are going to stay with your wife as a husband and wife. So whenever something happens, are you going to back to your parents and ask them, oh, mommy, daddy, these are the things that I'm going to. So first, pray and wait patiently and get the right partner. And I think that one can help you. But if you are not ready, don't go for it.
I have some comments here that I would like to share out. But even just as our guest said, you need wisdom.
Yeah.
You need wisdom. And that's something deep to really take out. But I'll just go ahead and just read some comments here. So we have one of our viewers say, keep it lit and glowing. So yeah. And also, before anyone gets into marriage, please count the cost before. That's something that I would like you to, talk about a little.
Say that again.
Count the cost.
Count the cost. And then also, don't let a woman who is thinking about time and space force you into it. My men out there. So this is to the men out there. Looks like, this is going against us, but it's okay.
It's good. It's good.
It's good. Yeah. Watch out. Watch out. Watch out. Don't just, force into it because someone is
pressuring you.
Yeah, pressuring you. Yep.
That's good.
Okay.
So before we get back into it, I think we should go on a little commercial break. So we're going to take a quick commercial break and then we'll be back. So stay tuned.
What's it? Wobeye oh hieni wobabeye ha 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 wobediye ne waso wobeseri afim wate udie mewradi nyaminya wale dasu wobeye umabeye wasifwa ye Bimpo Mewradi Asonia Sansirano nya walidaso Ubeye umabeye wasifwa ye Tiabiem Mese Ubeye Asisia dying Ubabeye ha 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 Wabasiria Nyamuso Wabasiria Fimu Wate Awurade de Sedia Shawa Fruma Wadi Emeradi Eradi Nyaminya Wanidaso Yeah Na wubeye Ha Na waye Asaya ye Wubeye Na wudi biya cheche Wadi Emeradi Bere yoko ponye we ni daso. Me sha won kom se ubediye adiye na wase adiye. Aya me se wo biante. Wo be wari afimu. Wo sujani. Wo ba ya ye fra afimu ate. Wo be serio. Wo sujani. Wo be serio afimu ate. Die. Wo die me radi. Arade nyame kwanya wani daso. Se wo su no. Wo be serio. Na wasiri. Asasiri wate. Oh, Mewradi nyame kwanya wani daso. Yeah. Na wo be wo be siri afimu. Na wasasiri bio. Bakarabosa. Thank you, Jesus. Wo be kwasa finish. Wo be Ewurade de yedi afo bi kwano anopa yi. Eye wona me na wo kan wasam no. Wo benyin san. Wo bonini. Wo be wo fi mu wate. Me sha won kom se. Wo benyin san no.
So before we went on break, we were reading some comments, and we had one particular comment that I would actually like for our guests to elaborate on. And the comment was before anyone gets into marriage, please count the cost. So I would like for our guests to elaborate on the cost, this cost that you need to, consider before marriage. So.
Okay. And that's a good question, because we're not talking about financial costs. We're talking about emotional investment into marriage, in talking about the surrounding investment. Because, you may come from a family where you are the only one, and now you're going to marry into a family that are 20 or 30 people, and you're married to somebody who's also somebody else's child. And so that cost of just knowing that you are no longer going to just be answering to yourself. If the person's family call and they want something from him, you also have to work as a team. So whatever they need, you also have to be there. So the cost, and that's how I think about the cost, counting the cost and realizing that you are going to be a task force. You're going to be joining into another family. You form your nuclear family, but there's going to be a extended family that is going to be expecting things from you, and that's going to be asking a requirement from you. So are you ready for that cost, that expectation, that fulfillment of that goal in your life? So.
Is there? Oh, I was gonna ask another question on top of that, and then, Uncle, you can answer. You can take that. So I was gonna say, while we're talking about the cost, is there anything like compromise that you would have to deal with, to consider, compromising before marriage?
When you're talking about the cost, I just want to ask you: are you talking about the cost that the man is going to, the money that the man is going to spend on the woman, or you are talking about the cost for the whole?
So, I guess you can also think about financially, because you have to have a wedding, and I guess if whether or not you can afford, however big you want it or small and stuff, there's that. But then there's also just as Auntie was saying, the emotional and all that, like the investment that you actually have to put into it. So the time and effort too.
Okay, good question. Thank you. Because the reason why I'm asking you that, because it's something that both of you are going to marry, getting married, is communication. Before you choose your partner, you know whatever you want to do. Maybe you want to do a blessing. Maybe you want to do a huge wedding with 10 people following you. So that one, both of you need to check your finances. If the man, you can afford it, because as a man, I'm coming to marry you. It's not you are marrying me. So there is things that when you bring it in, the one which is good, I'll keep it. The one which is not good, I'll just sit you down and talk to you in a polite way and explain things to you that we are going to marry. And after married, it's like we are creating a new home. So we don't want to spend all our money in marriage. Because people are coming to witness the marriage. Yeah. That's exactly what people are coming to do. And it's good, we need to bring our marriage we come to the presence of God for the pastor or whatever, for them to bless the marriage. But that doesn't mean that we are going to spend huge money on a wedding.
I have a question, if I may interrupt you just a little. How would you say, let me just rephrase the question. So how important is the wedding? I know I'm asking you this because you are both married. And so how important is it? So would you say, let me just say, you know, you have a daughter or a young man who is of age and, you know, just about to get into marriage. So what would be your advice to them concerning not just about the marriage, but then also concerning the wedding in particular?
To me, the advice that was first, I need to ask you, did you work? Did you have a job? That's the first thing I will ask you. Did you have a job? Because you can't go and take a loan to get married. That's the first question I will ask you. Did you have a job? Did you check your finances? Can you afford this? So it's the reason why I said it's communication. It's communication in such a way that both of you need to agree into something that you can afford it. You know, it's not like you are going to do something for people to see you like a show. You are showing off. No. It's your life. It's my life. So we need to work as a team because what we are going in, we can't come back. And we don't want to marry and later when you finish marrying, you'll be owing debt and you keep on paying. It doesn't sound right. So I will do things that I can afford it. You understand my point? We need to do things that we can afford it. So it's not something like a huge thing for people to see that these people are people can marry today with all whatever money that they will spend. That money doesn't last longer. That marriage will not last. It's your heart. It's your love. So these are the things that you need to weigh out.
Right.
You know? So it's not like the money that you are going to spend, to me, it's not necessary. Like too much money doing those things. Like you want 10 people to follow you, it's not necessary. To me, it's not necessary. So I'm using myself as an example. Like we got married. The major thing, or the main, as a gang, the main thing that we need to do, the parents, we need to do the engagement. The engagement, we as a gang, we take the engagement as a marriage. For the wedding, it's like something that we are coming to the altar for them to the pastor to bless it, for people to witness that we married. But the engagement, we value the engagement more than the wedding.
Okay.
We value the engagement more than the wedding. Every tribe is different, but as a gang, that's what we do. So, if like me and my wife got married, there's no need for for people like I want 10 people to follow me, or I want 10 female to follow her for the
you're talking
wedding.
about the bridesmaid.
Yeah. All those things. If you want it, you can do it in that way. But to me, it's not necessary. It's a waste of money. After I have married you and later or some years back and I want to do my blessing, I can do another blessing. And every year is a marriage renewal to me. Then I would rather spend huge amount of money to do all those things and later I'll go and pay it back, which I don't have. So you check your finances and see to it that what you are going to do, is it going to put you into trouble, or you just want people to see that, oh, that's me.
Right.
Is it right? That's the issue. So
you wanna
Okay. So, today in our society, the marriage is such a very big deal. And people, especially the young ones, they want the elaborate wedding. They want everything to be, very exquisitely done, extravagant. And I think it comes down to your budget. What kind of budget do you have? So I, as a parent, my daughter come to me, my son come to me and say, I'm going to have a wedding. We'll sit down and talk about your budget. Can you afford it? Can you afford this elaborate wedding? If you can afford the elaborate wedding, that's fine. I support you. But at the end of the day, it is cut your coat according to your size. If you can't afford an elaborate wedding, then I will highly discourage you from having an elaborate wedding. I'd rather you have a wedding with just you and the family than spend a lot of money on a wedding that you cannot afford and you're expecting people to do the wedding for you. Because some people, my husband was saying, some people go in and take a loan for a wedding. I don't see the point in doing that, especially if it's not part of an investment. Yes, your marriage is important, but are you ready to do things the way that you've been comfortable in? and not try to be too extravagant that it loses the flavor because you end up with the bill, and every time you see the bill, you really feel like somebody have put a choker around you trying to choke you. It just doesn't make any sense.
And one more last thing I want to chip in. Some people may always say, "Oh, my dad is there, my mom is there to support you." It's good both parents will support you, but as a man, you need to be responsible.
You're on your own at that
You're
point.
on your own. You understand
You
my
should
point?
be on your own.
So don't let somebody help you to get married. Oh, somebody will buy you this, somebody will buy you this. You need to be respected. That when you are, even your in-laws mention your name to people, they value you. They know this person is like that. Don't do things anyhow. Then you will regret it later. Then you say, if I knew like this thing, I position myself into that area. So just sit yourself and check, like what my wife said, you cut your coat according to your size. So you don't mean like, oh, God, my friend have 10 people following their bed, all those things it's not, to me, it's not necessary. It can be good for A, but me, B is not good for me. I won't do it. I'd rather every year renew my vows, enjoy what I have, than to show off. I don't want that. So,
when both of you were talking about cut your coat according to your size, it reminded me of this. There was this post that was floating around social media, and there was a girl that was about to get married, but in the post, she wasn't getting married anymore. Her wedding was canceled. So in the post, she was basically explaining why her wedding was canceled, and to me, it made no sense. I don't think it made sense to anybody because she had planned a very extravagant wedding, and to pay for the wedding, she had asked, I think, all her guests, family, friends, everybody that was coming, to all chip in $1,000 so that she could pay for the wedding. And nobody was trying to do that because why? Nobody was trying to do that. So I think like she had like this huge fit, canceled the wedding, and then that became a problem between her and the fiance, and then they broke up. All because of an extravagant wedding. So when they're talking about cut your coat according to your size and know your budget, it makes sense because you don't want to have problems just because you're trying to do something big and something extra, because that's what everybody's doing. You do what you can afford, because at the end of the day, it's not the wedding that you're going to do, it's marriage. And that is way longer than the wedding.
It is. It is.
And when she was talking about that, just reminded me of I think most of the time too, and again, I'm going for ourselves, we the ladies. Sometimes like I feel like, and I've heard men say that we do the big wedding because the ladies desire it.
That's
it's mainly for the women. And I think most of the time too, though maybe they might have the money or maybe they might not have it, but from the woman's, had or from the family, like they, had that vision of their daughter, getting married, having that kind of burden to, I don't know if it's more of just pleasing to them or however. And so the lady, of course, also, has this mentality, and so she wants that. And in this case, maybe the man might not necessarily want to have that kind of wedding, but because he wants to please the woman, he is, kind of forced to do that. So in that kind of situation, because then now, like, they're just getting married, he does not want to do something that will get her emotionally or, stuff. So what would you say about that kind of situation?
I think communication is definitely important because even if your parents can afford it, if your parents can afford it, you are marrying each other. So at the end of the day, are you expecting your parents to forfeit all your bills? You are not doing that. So don't go into the marriage thinking, oh, my parents can do this, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. And so then you have this euphoria that they're going to support this elaborate wedding. And then at the end of the day, the wedding is done, and then you come back and live in an apartment. To me, it doesn't make any sense because there's an expectation that you have, expectation of your wedding. And it's wonderful. Most people sit down and say, okay, I want this and I want that. If your parents are going to help you with some of the bills, fine. But don't expect them to forfeit all the, the bill and take care of everything because you want this elaborate wedding. And at the end of the day, they will say, okay, he's going to marry you. What is he contributing to it? Because your husband lose respect right then and there. Because the parents are like, they will say, oh, I'm paying for this, I'm paying for this, I'm paying. Literally, they can enable the things that they are paying for. Should they be paying for it? No. It is your wedding. So if you can afford it, then don't do it. Don't say that because my parents said they are going to have, this elaborate restaurant and each plate is costing $500. You want your guests to go there. Does it make sense if you can afford it? No, it doesn't make sense. So remember where you came from and where you are going as a couple. And if you do that, then you both be communicating with each other and say, okay, even though my parents said they're going to spend $10,000 for this wedding, we can actually have this wedding with $5,000. So let's do the $5,000 and instead of spending $100,000 or $200,000, my parents said they're going to spend for this wedding, and just be truthful. Oh yes, $100,000 is nothing to have a wedding.
Oh, why?
Believe me, $100,000 is nothing to have a wedding. Just be true.
Wow.
Yes. So be honest. Be honest with yourself. So yeah.
So we're gonna get back to the before wedding and everything. So what's your opinion on like health screening before marriage? Like knowing each other's I guess health status and like blood work and stuff. Because I know that I've heard things about knowing like your blood type and stuff like that because different blood types don't mix or something like I guess like hereditary diseases and stuff like that. What's your take on that?
So in the Ghanaian community, we have the sickle cell carrier and sickle cell trait. So being in the healthcare field, it is important. I personally think it's important to know your health status. And so that way you can have a medical provider educate you guys on what to expect. And when you're having kids, what are some of the things that you need to do? Because if you are a sickle cell carrier and your husband is a sickle cell carrier, then your child will have a high expectation of also being a carrier or, having the sickle cell trait. So you have to be very, very cognizant of those things. So going the marriage with doing the blood work, going there with the healthcare screening, and making sure that if there's any genetic abnormality in your family, there are issues that you guys need to address and be cognizant of moving forward. So
let me add some few stuff to it. Before, some of the church don't do, but Church of Pentecost now they acquire all those things. And one thing in life is that, to me, is going to help both as a couple. Whenever your church maybe asks you to go and see the doctor for certain things, to you may think, oh, why the church are like this? They are so mean, this and that. But for the purpose, is going to help both of you as a couple because maybe there's some things in me you don't know because I don't know you unless maybe we have seen each other before we are getting married. But if I didn't see you before, you didn't know me, I didn't see you, you two didn't see my personality or whatever in me, and the church acquire or for you to go and see the doctor, to me, it's a good thing that we need to take note about it because some people were like, oh, if the church want me to do this because of that, that means I'm not going to the church again after I'm getting married. It's not the church is not going to pay whatever for me getting married. And you leave the church, things that the church acquired from you, you leave it, you won't do it, and you go and do it on your own. And later maybe you find out maybe there's a sickness in me, and you that sickness, you get infection on that. Or maybe there's a sickness on her, and maybe I'll get an infection on that. So we need to take things seriously when we get to marry, especially as a Christian. But if you are not a Christian, and you chose that, oh, I don't need this, and you want to get married without screening, that one is your choice. Everything is a choice. To me, I prefer that thing. We need to check it. Because it's going to help me because I cherish my life. No matter why I'm getting married to you, I cherish my life. I don't want to die premature death. I want to enjoy life to the fullest. The same applies to you. So we need to take note about that. That thing is very important. It's a nice question that you asked because most of the people that are getting married, some of them, they see themselves before they will put them married to the church or the pastor or whatever that they are getting married. And later, there is so many issues, complicating all those things, and they find themselves like going to the prayer center and all those things, worry, elders and all those things. But if you go to that screening, that one too can help you in your marriage. So I think it's very important.
But I just wanted to ask a follow-up question on that.
Sure.
So Is there a possibility or chance that you think some couple, I mean, maybe after, doing the screen, because I think there was something that I was actually having a conversation with a friend, and I asked her that kind of question. She was like, so I asked that if in case you do that screening, realize there's a possibility that you both might not be able to have children or might have affected children who, might come up and then it might be something that you probably did not plan for. So the person was like, I'm actually not going to do the screening because at that point, she's feeling like, does it mean we should not marry? So my question is, are there chances that you think some couples should not marry because of that?
I always believe in knowledge is power. The Bible said, my children are perishing from lack of knowledge. The healthcare screening is not to scare you. It is to give you information, and information is power. There's a lot of things out there that we can do to help ourselves. So if you are ignorant of it, you are setting yourself up for failure. So I would highly encourage you to do the health screening. Some states require it to do the health screening. Some states require you to do the blood work because they want to make sure that you guys are setting yourself up for success. So it is imperative to take those steps to make sure that you are going to this marriage with a clean bill of health, as clean as it is possible. So,
unless maybe each of the couples have any bad intention about the screening, maybe somebody himself, some of them know, the man or the woman know maybe he have those kind of disease or something like that, but he or she will pretend like, oh, nothing wrong with me, this and that, and it's good for you to see the doctor. Some disease can cure. They can advise you, maybe do this before you get married. Maybe you didn't do anything bad, and that thing just come to your blood system.
Right.
That one too is there.
Hereditary.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's good for you to see the doctor so that when there is a way out, they can help you than rather hide it and later it will create a big problem.
Right.
So it's very good that when you are getting married, you need to go all those things.
So my point was, after knowing, and then you get to realize probably you might not be able to have children, or in that kind of instance, because that becomes a thing. Like
so it's a choice.
Yeah, if
you
can
adopt.
You call it a quit.
Yeah, you can adopt. If you love that person and you want to adopt, you can adopt. There are kids all over the world that need somebody to take care of them. But it's a choice. Marriage is a choice. You choose that partner. So if the person is not equipped to have your child, does that mean that you don't love the person anymore? It's your choice. So don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It's a choice. So you choose that. You choose. The person said, "Will you marry me?" You can say no.
Yeah.
The person can do nothing to you. And the person doesn't have to ask you to marry them, but they choose to ask you, and you choose to accept.
The way the pastor will ask you, will you accept this person as your lawful wife? And you say, yes, I do. The pastor didn't force you. He asked you. He said, will you accept Alberta? Will you accept Theophilus as your lawful husband? And you say, yes, I do.
Yes, it's a choice.
The same thing.
Yeah.
So nobody is forcing you.
Yeah. Yep.
Unless some people have different reason before they get married. Maybe it's going for because the one side of the marriage couple have money or this. Everybody mindset is different. Somebody just want to go there and later he quit or something like that. Yeah, or maybe school or course or whatever. So
so it's very, very important to do, that screening, genetic screening, blood screening.
Important.
If you get to do it and realize there's the chances, it's good to know ahead of time because then the healthcare team can actually, teach you and do things in preparation as to when the child is delivered. It's better that way than to have a child and then not know that, the child had a chance of having a certain trait or maybe being a sickle cell, that kind of thing. And then they grow up and that's where you realize, oh, my child has this. But then the deformities and, the disadvantage will be higher and the risk is more, dangerous at that point than to know it at the beginning and know what to do, have a special training for your child ahead of time.
So there's this saying, marriage alters destination, right? So how can marriage affect one's life in the long run, and how can marriage help build an individual?
I think marriage is a complementary team. You know, if you look at it, your marriage should enhance you. You know, it should make you a better. You know, they say the two shall be one. So your better half. So the marriage should take you to another level. And so when you are married and you are not being elevated, or your husband is not being elevated, then you are not working on your marriage together. You know, so the destination, it could mean that you get married and now your husband wants to start a business. So you are a finance person and you're helping your husband with that destination. You could marry and it means that you want to go to school and your husband is there to support you with your education. So you are moving in the direction you want to go, but your destination may be different. But you are there as each other's cheerleader. You are there as each other's support, each other best friend, each other advisor, each other a counselor. So you are there for each other. So the marriage should be, you know, they say two are better than one. So you guys have the same theme, the same focus, the same expectation. At the end of the day, you enhance each other. You really complement each other and build each other up. So marriage should do that to for you.
Like she said, it's a teamwork. You need to feel for each other. If maybe she want to go to school all the time, these are the things that some of us having a problem with that. Because she want to go to school, you don't want to do it. You say, oh, why all the time you want to go to school? Why all the time you want to do this, you do that? But you need to support her. In her education, whatever she may do or whatever you may do, because you are one, whether good or bad, you need to sit down and discuss about it. At the school that you are starting now, is it going to affect our finances, the money involved in your career? Is it going to affect our finances, the business that you are going to do? Is it going to affect our finances? Is it going to affect things that we have in place before the school system come in? So don't just kill whatever one couple bring in. Don't just kill it down, or this thing that you are going to do is not good. You just kill it. You don't have no reason, but you just, because you don't want it, or sometimes you don't have money, so you just feel, you just want to kill it. You don't have money. Money, if you don't have money, you can behave, sometimes you can behave anyhow. But sometimes not that you have the cash in hand, but there's ideas that you can put into that thing that the person wants to do. And it will help him or her without getting cash and giving her or him a cash in hand. So your ideas, share ideas to her, with her, or maybe think together, plan. Or these are the things that we want to do. These are the things that you want to do. So do this, put this in A, put this in that. And all those things is going to help. You need to help each other. Feel for your partner. There are things that when it happened to you, it happened to her too as well. So it's not like everything on you. When it comes to you, it is okay for you. But when it comes to the other side of the story, you say no. These are the things. So in those, sometimes there's a little thing that it shouldn't be a problem. It's communication and understanding. If you communicate most, you can understand what the person, or where the person is going to, or where is going, just think together. And I think that one to help.
So that is to say, before you choose your partner, communication has to be somebody that you are compatible with.
Thank you.
With regards to communication.
Yeah, without the communication.
Because everything in it is all about communication.
Yeah, it's very good.
I wanted to ask, so let's say you're a Christian, right? So is it, not let's say you're a Christian, I know you're both Christians, but I was going to say, is it possible for a Christian to choose the wrong partner? Like even after following all the parameters of Scripture?
Yes.
It is. Yes. It is. Because remember, it's a choice. You can read your Bible and say, God has ordained this person, but it's your choice. At the end of the day, did you factor in God's purpose for your life? Did you guys have a conversation? Did you really wait upon the Lord, or you just went through the checklist? Sometimes we go through the checklist and say check, 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 and then you say I'm ready. But did you put in the emotion involvement? Did you put in the commitment, the interaction, the relationship with God to say, God, I'm still and you are God. And so when you said I'm listening, And at the end of the day, are you really listening to God? Or are you listening to your emotions? But it's a choice. And you can choose the wrong person. You know?
I have a question based on that. How do you weigh? Okay, so that is before you know, you get to choose all of that. So how do you weigh and decide in between? Like, because there's been times that, you know, it's like, or you were emotionally were kind of feeling like, this is the person. And so now your mind is all tuning in. You're just seeing like, oh, okay. Even when you start reading your Bible, you see like, oh yeah, that is just a go from that. That's the person. And actually, you know, how to really weigh in between, like, you know, actually hearing and knowing from God that this is the person, and also like kind of differentiating between your emotion and your, you know, all of that leading you to seeing signs and all of that, making you feel like
to see that the person that is coming is the right person for you. Or
let me just say, like, how, you know, you got to know that Auntie was the right person.
You know how magnets work, right?
Wow.
You know magnets, right? If you have a magnet here and you have another metal or whatever here, it can attract it and it can hold it. No matter how you pray, you go to church, when you see your partner, you can feel it, that this person is your partner. Let me tell you something.
Story time.
It's not...
Or bedtime.
Oh, just brief. Just something brief. You pray to God that, God, I want a right person to be my partner. God is not going to come down and give you the person that this person is what you are expecting. If I tell you it's true, I'm lying, it's wrong. You pray to God all the time, 24/7. And you have put, every woman have her type of man that she need. If I'm lying, you can put me wrong. Because some of them would say, some female will be saying, oh, I want somebody who look like a giant, or, you know, somebody may have like a Atiadunku, like slim or something like that. Somebody will want like, like Zoli, like medium. You know? Everybody have a type of woman or a type of man that he or she want. So praying to God, working towards that, and when the D-Day come, when you wait patiently enough for God to answer your prayers, sometimes it can happen in your dream. Because let me use me as an example. I always saying, if I want to marry, I will marry an officer, either a custom officer, immigration officer.
Wow.
Whatever I ask God is whatever God gave me.
Wow.
So that's what I'm telling you. I always use myself as an example.
So when you saw her, you knew.
It's a wife.
If the person, you know, some incident happened back in the days. It's a testimony. It happened at one of the church of Pentecost. Somebody was praying to God for God to answer her prayers, because she put a certain numbers that, or the things that the kind of man that she want to get married to, and she prayed to God that she is going to the temple. She is going to the church room, the auditorium room. She will be the first person that entered the auditorium room. And she started praying. She asked God, the first man that I will see in that auditorium room, let that man be the type of man that I want to marry.
So you need to try this.
It's a rare testimony. It's a rare testimony. And you know why? She prayed, and the person that came to the church auditorium room, the person is a disabled. You understand my point? Do you want to tell me that God has given you something that you don't want, or God has answered you wrong? No. What you asked for God, you said the first man that will be in the church auditorium room, let that man be my husband.
Wow.
Sometimes God knows what is good for you, but you cannot tell God that, oh God, I want this. This is what I want. If God said, take this one, you can't change it. And you know what she did? She avoided that man. She prayed for it and she avoided that man. Let me quickly end it. And she didn't take that man. God sent that man for her purpose. She didn't take that man. And she avoided that man. She keep on praying, and she ended up taking the one that she liked. Do you know what what that man, do you know what God did? That man, a certain woman went and got married to that man, and up to date, for her and her Thai family. When they said somebody is a billionaire, they are billionaire. That man is a billionaire, and the one that you end up now, they have a baby. The baby is sick. The next one too sick. All the baby that they keep on producing, the kids that they keep on producing, they didn't get it right. So sometimes whenever you ask God for something, whatever God will give you, just take it. You don't know the reason why. You ask for it. So just take what you ask God. Just take it. And you don't know what will happen. So whatever you ask for God, make sure you take it. Because everybody know the right person that he or she want to get. Unless maybe you don't tell the truth. Because when you see the kind of man that you want, you know. When you see the woman that you want, you know.
Yeah. So definitely grab an officer.
Yeah.
Our mom is in the military, so yeah.
Amen to that.
I was gonna say on top of what he just said, it's he was saying that the woman ended up just taking what she wanted and avoiding the one that the first man that came into the room. And I feel like that's how type goes. Like when you have a type, when you have a specific type that you want, you're praying to God to send you his will. You're praying to God to give you the man that he has set for you, like the man that is going to help you in his purpose for you, right? But then you have a type, you have a list of all these things that you want, right? So then God will send the man and you won't even know that that's the man because you're waiting for this list. It's like God, okay, he has to be this, he has to be this, he has to be this. So if the person comes, if God has sent the person to you and the person is not anything on your list, you're just like, oh, that's not him, that's not him, that's not him. So like in that, right, so you'll be sitting there, you might end up marrying the exact person that's on your list, but that might not even be the person that's going to help you to achieve God's purpose for you. That could be somebody that's going to take you way off your purpose. That also goes into the marriage alters destination, because if you marry the wrong person, your destination is like different from what it's meant to be to begin with.
That is so true. That is so true. And I just want to add on to what our host is saying, is that for me, it's so funny. My husband got what he wanted, what was praying for. I didn't get what I wanted.
Yeah.
Because I was praying that the person should not be a Ghanaian, should not even speak God.
Wow.
And that's why I say God have a sense of humor.
I see that.
Because I look back and I always laugh because I have been in America for so long that I wasn't even thinking about I'm going to marry somebody for the whole continent of Africa. I was like, no. And then my husband was not only a Ghan, but he's also from Ghana, and he's also from the same culture, tribe, everything. And I look back and I say, wow,
God.
that is God. You know. So as Christian, as we pray for it, you have to be, you have to be realistic.
Yeah.
So God will answer things in the way that you don't see yourself, but it's because God is answering it the way that He sees fit. So even if your answers doesn't meet the criteria that you are thinking about, that doesn't mean that God doesn't have your best in mind. So when my husband came, I would be like, no, it's not what I wanted. It wasn't it. But I didn't say that. I said, you know what, God, you have a sense of humor, and I love you, and I know you love me. So amen to that. And that is a reality. God loves us. And because He loves us, He's going to do what is best for us. Not what we want, but what we need. And so if you need something, God is going to provide it. And remember that. So.
You see, she accepted what God had to offer her. Look at them, flourishing in love.
Amen to that.
Couple goals.
Yeah, couple goes
Yes.
right there.
Yeah.
But the last thing that I would just leave with you is you may have your list, you may have your desires and all of that, but first of all, remember, just take delight in the Lord, and He will grant your heart desires. And just as they said, it's His will. It's always about His will. So you may have your expectations and all that list, but if you really seek to glorify God, then you have to go for His will. And so, yes, I might have mine, but God's will is always the best for us. So that's all that I'll leave with you. But again, thank you, and I just want to give you the opportunity. So if you want to say a quick shout out to anybody out there, you can go ahead and just do it.
Well, I'll just say thank you guys so much for hosting the program. It is definitely, the road to marriage is not an easy road, you know, and you want your best partner, you want your best cheerleader, you want your best friend. And so anybody out there, our viewers out there, I just want to say, take your time. Don't rush into marriage. Remember that marriage is a long journey. It's a long journey, and it's full of these ups and downs. So you want your partner right there to say, hey, we got it. Whatever it is, you want somebody to be your cheerleader. You want somebody out there to really support you. So take your time, and when you find the right person, God is good.
Anything short?
Yeah. This goes to my fellow men, young guys, as you are about to marry. What I want to tell you that try to be a responsible man before you get into marriage. Don't be in a rush, like, oh, people are doing it, so me too, I can go for it. Don't chew big meat that you can't chew.
Wow.
So pray to God, get yourself a right person, because you can't go and come back. You can't return. So get yourself a right partner and you enjoy. Marriage is good. Anybody that will tell you marriage is bad is a lie. But make sure you prepare. Try and come and be a responsible person before you can involve yourself into that. Don't rush.
Thank you.
Pray to God and get the right partner, like I have my own.
Yes. Exactly.
So that's my advice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Well,
don't scare the screening. Yeah.
don't be scared of the screening.
Yeah. Don't scare.
Just know that divorce is not an option for us. So if it's gonna take you long to find the right person, it's worth it, because divorce is not an option for us.
Amen.
That's my last word for you. Over to you, sis.
So we would just like to thank you again, our guests, for coming in and sharing this advice for us. We thank you very much. And before we go, I'd just like to share some acknowledgments. So first, we'd like to thank you, our viewers, for always tuning in with us. We thank you very much, because without you, we won't be here, you know. So we also like to thank our producers in the back and our technicians. And also, we'd like to thank our guests again, because they are our #1 supporters. They are always here every week with us, supporting us. So we'd like to thank you for that as well.
You're welcome.
We would also like to thank our Empowerment Hour team. You know, if you're out there watching, shout out to you guys. Also like to acknowledge our national head, Apostle Amakun. We'd like to acknowledge our regional head, Apostle Asemnor. We'd also like to acknowledge our district pastor and his wife, Reverend Elvis Boating and Mrs. Beatrice Boating. We'd like to acknowledge all of you guys. And also, we will be having a program next week, right? Next week.
Yeah, 4th
and
to the 7th.
4th to the 7th, and I'll have Auntie elaborate more on that for us.
Okay, so we're having Apostle Tall, and it's also on the screen, so you can see it. The Apostle and the chairman and the IMD is coming to the apostolization, and they're going to be spearheading, talking about not only the plan, the strategic plan, the 5-year plan for the church, but they're also going to talk about the vision of the church. So please come and support it. It's the 4th to the 7th, and here in Maryland it's going to be on the 5th, and Virginia is going to be 6th. So please come in and support, and definitely you're going to be empowered by great things from great leaders. So.
All right, so then we'll be bringing the show to an end. And again, thank you. Thank you both for being here with us. And thank you for watching us. And to my co-host, oh, well, she's the host today. Big shout out to you. Thank you so much. You know, she's great. So, yeah, we'll be catching you next week. Oh, next week we might not be here, because the chairman of the Church of Pentecost nationwide is coming. And we're going to have a great conversation and a great apostolization, week. So definitely we're going to be there. So we might not be having our program, but this will be the end of the episode, the series for the month of February. So the month of March, we'll be starting another series on the 12th of March. So watch out for that. And that'll be all for the day.
Ashon Collection, home of genuine American parts. Are you looking for a genuine American part for your vehicle? We are located at Russia Transformer Junction. Our phone number is 243-548925. Come and your need will be met.
There's no